layer, and in our testing we've discovered that there is almost zero gold in that top. And because the gold up here is so coarse, we do run over all of our tailings, all the stuff we throw away with the gold monster. So if there was something worthwhile in there, we would pick it up. But in the meantime, we're going to save our battery power and the effort in processing worthless dirt, because if you run that stuff, you dilute your total gold take. And now a word from our smart Steve. Steve, say something smart. A man was out at a restaurant enjoying a nice dinner with his partner when he spots a lady choking on her food. Luckily this man's a doctor. So he jumps up and runs over and grabs her as she's coughing and sputtering all over her bemused partner. Yeah, Grizz. And he throws her on the table and whips her pants down. He immediately starts to lick her bum. And a couple of minutes later, she coughs up the offending bit of steak. One of the men in the restaurant jumps up and goes, "Sir, that was amazing. I've never seen the Heimlich maneuver before." Update on the high banker. We now have a side mounted spray bar. We have a 2,000 gallon an hour pump, which is the perfect amount of water flow over the mini cell mat for this high banker. We have an 18 amp hour battery. We get about 2.5 hours worth of run time from that pump with this battery, which at the speed we can work this high banker is more than adequate. However, there are several things that we are planning on doing in the future, such as adding solar chargers and possibly little generators to keep this running all day. Rocks come out of the hole, not back in. The pay layer that we're chasing is a bushfire layer that was created here in 2003. Let me run you over why bushfires are so important to gold prospecting. So in places like California and Nevada, Arizona, where you're going to have some of these fires, you're going to be able to hunt for the same layers. The bushfires in Australia rage hot. In fact, the last 3 major bushfires ran hot enough to melt gold in the ground. And this absolutely decimates the root systems of trees and shrubs that hold the topsoil in place. In creeks that are seasonal like this, where you might only get 3 or 4 weeks worth of running water over the top of them, the erosion of the gully happens very, very slowly unless a fire runs through. Once the fire runs through, often those fire fronts cause their own storm systems that create a lot of rain, and you get flash flooding. With nothing holding the root systems in place, all of the water rips off that topsoil and concentrates it in the creek. We are chasing one of those layers because that is one of the biggest erosion events that can happen anywhere, yet alone in a creek that's seasonal and has really big gold like we do here. The layers can be many different colors. The way we're chasing is sort of a tan, yellow, red color. It will highly depend on the minerals that are in the soil, the type of wood that burnt around it, and all the other things that go into what gets burnt in the fire. I found them from gray, tan, red, but the main identifying factor for them is that they'll have small organics in there. They're usually very fine, very silty. They'll have bits of charcoal, bits of leaf, bits of stick, but they're all extremely tiny. If you can find that, it's most likely a bushfire layer. The added advantage is it being so fine that the particles stick together very densely and gold doesn't penetrate through them. So whatever gold was ripped off is going to be sitting in that layer, and any gold subsequently that lands on top of it won't permeate through it. We've run about 15 shovels, and I just wanted to bring up a very important point. Like I said before, there's no indicated heavies, which means that there's no black sand or ironstone to clog up these mats. So the only reason we have to clean this out is when we want to see the gold. There's nothing going to block it up to the point we're going to blow gold out, which is a really, really rare occurrence. Most often you would have to clean something like this size mat out every 100 liters or so, which is about every 100 shovels. And this is a shovel full of bushfire layer dirt. Look how much black silt is in it. That is the #1 indicator. There are tiny bits of organic material in there as well. So if you can find this stuff, you found a major erosion event and likely lots of gold. We have run maybe 100-ish shovels between us, and we're getting very curious and a bit antsy to see what is in the mat. Got a little bit of gold just there, and I think there was another piece just there. So we've got at least 2 little bits. The really big bits get trapped up the back there, so that's where our nuggets will be. Now I've got to do the tricky 3-finger plug while Mick washes this down. As you can see, absolutely no heavies, no blacks, no ironstone, nothing. So this is what we're talking about by no indicators in the creek. Now I'm going to find out doing this one-handed. Ooh, there's a bit of gold. What was in there? We got a shotgun pellet. Yeah, there we go. Some nice coarse gold. Yes. And that's it. There's not a lot of pieces. There never is a lot of pieces on this creek, but they're just nice and chunky bits. So of course, all of them are pickers. How cool is that? So is it worth digging this huge hole to nowhere for not as much gold as if I went to another creek? Of course it is, because it's really pretty gold and everyone likes looking at chunks. So the gold weight, it's not going to be that much, but damn, it's going to be fine to look at. Just after the cleanup, the weather has truly set in. It's only reaching a maximum of 8 degrees today and it hasn't topped that out on the mercury yet. And we're at a stage where it is getting properly wet. Everything is getting drenched. So we're going to run a little bit more. We've got a little bit of power left in the battery. So we'll go for a few more shovels. We'll see if we can't pull out a couple more of those beautiful pickers. And then we're going to have to call it a day. And we are home. It's been a couple of weeks since I filmed that video and I've now got the gold dry and ready to weigh for you guys. Mick and I put in approximately 3 hours worth of sluicing and about an hour's worth of clearing rocks to gain access to that layer. We are nowhere near done in that spot. We have intentions of going back there very soon while there is still water in that gully to see if we can't clear out a large section of the bottom of that hole. And in summer, I plan on going back there with a couple of metal detectors, stripping the ground off and detecting for the larger nuggets that could be hiding at the bottom of those drop-offs. This is the gold we got over the course of our session. Let's compare this next to some very scalable objects. This is the gold next to an Australian 5-cent coin, and this is the gold next to a Clash Guitars pick. As you can see, we've got plenty of chunky pieces of gold. Some of them are quite worn. This piece is very, very river worn, while some of them are quite reefy. This piece here in particular, I did a macro photo of just to see it nice and close, and it has got some very, very serious shape about it. We've got our scales tared off. And now we're going to do the old one-handed pour and slip. That's most of it. There's only a couple of dots in there. 1.09 grams of pretty much all pickers. That means that this gold is worth approximately $68 Australian at the time of filming, which is pretty good. It's a nice little chunk of cash for 3 hours, although it is split between 2 people. So again, it's all about the fact that that gold's pretty, and there's not very many places in my area that you can go and get gold like that every single time you prospect. A super quick announcement for those of you who do not know, we have got merchandise ready for sale. There is a link in the description below. There are 4 sweet designs for you to choose from across a heap of different products. I don't have hats yet, but I will soon, and we're going to be adding more designs, about 1 every month, so you'll have a few options there if you want to jump on board and have a look. We've also got a post office box. There's been a lot of people requesting to send me letters and products to test and things like that, and now you can. So if you want to send something into the channel, please check the description below. The post address is down there. And what I'm going to hopefully do in the near future is a mail time segment. So if you've got something you want read out on the channel, flick me a note. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you did enjoy this video. Remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Hit that little bell so you don't miss out on any of my future bearded adventures. And as always, peace, and we're out.